Let's see who we've got. I can see we've got Darth Paws in the chat already. He loves the extended universe. That's what real fans call it. Extended universe. Hope you're all having a good day. We're going to obviously get on to chapter 3 of Shatterpoint in a little bit. Good evening, Star Wars Luke, UK. Good to see you, man. I'm not sure if it just went live or no. I think we're good. How are y'all doing? Glad you can make it. We've got 7 in chat just now. If you could leave a like, that would be awesome. We're here to talk about some real Star Wars. We're going to be covering chapter 3 of Shatterpoint. Knights of Undercover says I make 2 clips before the stream. That's awesome. Thanks very much. Oh, we've got 10 in chat. Awesome. Right, basically... Oh, Grey Flanner. Good to see you, man. I saw you on Matt Wilkins' stream the other day. Vex says hello. Welcome, Vex. You're always welcome. There's William Ripke. Aye, glad you can make it, man. Oh, Logan's legacy's here. We're going to patch him because he's a faker. Right, first of all, well, we'll let you come in and say hi real quick. Oh, you're going to do your stream afterwards, Knights of Undercover. Awesome. Hopefully I can stay on for that then. First of all, I only learned about this about an hour ago, but actor Angus McInnes, you'll all know him as Gold Leader from A New Hope. Oh, SWA, good to see you, man. Well, he passed away today, I guess, age 77. So it's a bit of a shame. Luckily, his family said that he died peacefully with his family around him, so that's pretty comforting. And I'm really thankful for his contribution to Star Wars, and heart goes out to his family. So there's that. Maybe in the future I could do like a history of like his character, like how I do for the books. That'd be maybe a fun avenue to take the channel, like look into specific Star Wars characters. So there's that, and I wanted to get like into the book as quickly as possible this time. I know we sometimes linger and talk about some stuff, but there was a couple of things I wanted to mention first though. First of all being, where is it in my notes? Yeah, I wanted to acknowledge one of the posts by Jacob, or J.I. Jacob as you know him. He's been really pushing the High Republic recently, and to be honest, I'd normally just completely ignore it, because you know what he's like. It's always the same post that he does, and Logan's Legacy says Star Wars series is idle. Oh, you're just a troll, dude. And I was actually gonna talk a little bit about your shenanigans, but I don't think it's really worth it. The dude basically pretended to be a fan of the channel, and then all of a sudden he changed his username. He's now an EU hater, and he's constantly in the videos and stuff just posting like quotes from George, trying to disprove George's involvement with the EU and stuff. It's whatever. No interested, especially with dealing with people that are being disingenuous like that. So I'll no be responding to you, man. No from now on. Aye, whatever. So there's that. And so Jacob was talking about the High Republic. He posted, he said, one of the very best things about being a fan of the High Republic is that nobody in the fandom menace, which doesn't exist, can needlessly hate on you for it, because the majority are too lazy to actually sit down and read these stories themselves. Like, I could literally say, I think blah 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 are all phenomenal characters, and they literally have no idea as to how to respond. Love to see it. And the ironic thing is, that's exactly how himself and others treat the expanded universe. They're far too lazy to read any of it, and that's why they constantly trash it. So I thought that was pretty pathetic to see that. Obviously, Tim covered it on the United Spacers Alliance channel, the spacing, sorry. But yeah, pretty authentic, as Melvin would say. And then, yeah, I was going to talk about Logan's Legacy, but we're skipping that part. No worth the trouble. And then, yeah, so I wasn't going to talk about Star Wars Theory this stream, but then I saw his most recent video. He says, this is a video that only I can make. And he's talking about the expanded universe and like lore videos. And I took a few notes because I watched it not long before the stream. Yeah, he made this video about lore, and he's saying that these videos don't do as well as they used to when he first started YouTube about 9 years ago. And he's still claiming that he used to be a lore channel. Darth Paw says, I can't stand punching down. That's right, we're punching down on Star Wars Theory. You know, yeah, he claims to be this lore channel, but like, what if videos covering Disney comics and theories about the Disney's sequel trilogy are not lore videos? Let's see what Darth Paws has to say about that. Lore videos don't get views because of news videos, but I still make news videos, then complain about lore videos not getting views. Exactly, it was like I was about to lose the rag when I was watching that. Ridiculous. And so yeah, that's my point. The kind of videos he was making are not lore videos. You know, and like Darth Paw says, like, maybe people aren't watching these videos because nobody's interested in watching ghost written videos by someone who has confessed to not of having read the lore. And he actually goes out of his way to diminish it, as we've spoken about before. So he was getting more views on it back in the day because people thought that he knew what he was talking about. Theory made a 20-minute lore video on Darth Caedus. If you want to count a lore video on a series he's never read as a lore video. Yes, exactly. Exactly. A good point, actually. But he'll buy all the books and then he'll listen to a abridged audiobook version of the first book and have no idea what was in it. What do I think about Theory's Vader episode? I am, like, personally, I'm not a fan of fan films. I think they're a waste of time. You know, you could be putting all that money and effort into something that you created, but instead it's kind of like I get it, like it's cool, but I just think it's a bit of a waste of time. Anyway, so yeah, that's what he's been talking about. But in my experience on YouTube, like, people, like, including me, people are interested in watching content and learning. People are interested in learning, and they like learning from people that do their research and know what they're talking about. At least that's how I feel. I only watch a handful of channels, and it's always people that know what they're talking about. I would like to see Scran's version of the sequels. My version of the sequels is the expanded universe. And I wouldn't even adapt them. I would just let the expanded universe be what it is. I would have let the authors continue what they were doing, and then I would have went into the future, like, far away from it all. And then you can reference things that happened in the past. And that way, hardcore fans that are into this stuff it'll be uninterrupted. They can enjoy the new stuff. And then casual fans can enjoy it as well. Easy peasy. Gray Flanner says, Theory is a hack looking to make money. Most of the big players on YouTube are just playing a role that works for getting views. They aren't authentic. And that's what they claim. They're like, oh, we're always authentic and we're just true fans of this stuff. And it's not true. they're making, like Paws said, he's complaining that these lore videos aren't getting the views, but then he's still making the videos that he says people are interested in, like the news videos about the new stuff. And it's just like a few months back when a handful of us were saying that, you know, if you want if you want lore content, go to this group of channels, and if you want theories, go to Star Wars Theory. It was a little bit facetious, I suppose, but like I was made to feel like, you know, like I was slandering him for attention, to get attention on my channel, and I actually felt a bit bad about that. But in all honesty, he's damaging the integrity of the. Pardon me. He's damaging the integrity of real Star Wars. All while playing this like self-imposed George Lucas purist role, and pretending he's like the poster boy for the shills, like he's like their number one target, you know. Um. So yeah, I'm going to continue to point that stuff out, and so are many other channels that feel the same way. Because like I literally just made a video about like the Ewok movies. That's one of these things that people like, they'll slag and make fun of, but like people absolutely loved that video from what I can tell. Even Matt Wilkins commented on it, which was really cool. He subscribed to my channel as well. He's one of the reasons I even made a channel. Vex says, Darth Paws, I agree, EU adaptions done well would be awesome, but the EU would always be canon. What did Paws say? Oh yeah, like they always talk about how George would have like stomped all over the EU if he made sequels. He was planning to, first of all, he was never going to do one, and he never did do one, so that argument's moot. But he had several ideas, and one of them was exploring the midichlorians. You know what I mean? So if George, people are always saying that he sold because fans were toxic about the prequels. He was talking about making a midichlorian trilogy. He was going to double down on that stuff. So yeah, and then what was the other thing I wanted to say? Oh yeah, and the Continuity Wars videos I made, I think that's evidence enough that people are interested in the original lore. The fact that they're still upset to this day about what Filoni did with the Clone Wars show, you know? So, and that's the thing, like real Star Wars fans will turn up for, like they will turn up and support good content, like EU based content. Great content recently, Scran, top research man, Continuity Wars. Thanks, Luke UK, I appreciate it. Those like I won't, like I'll admit those videos weren't as tricky to make as opposed to the ones I usually make. Like not as much effort went into those. I'm just letting the footage speak for itself. Paws says his lore videos were Vader read along for 6-year-olds along with what ifs. Yeah, and those were Disney Vader comics as well. It's not original lore. Like just talking about, I wonder if he's talking about just like aspects of the movies. Like would they count as lore videos, or are we talking like expanded universe content? I almost called it extended there, fake fan. But yeah, so basically nobody cared about theories because all that means is that you don't know the lore. So, yep, that's right, Porg and Michelle. Like if if you knew the lore, you wouldn't be making theories. You know what I mean? You wouldn't even have the idea for some of these theories if you actually knew what had happened. But yeah, rant over. Let's does anyone else have anything to say about that? Pause says explaining a moment in a movie isn't a lore video. I'd tend to agree with that. Like, obviously the movies, like, a lot of the lore comes from the movies, and then the expanded universe expands upon it, you know? But, like, any casual fan knows that stuff already, so are you explaining the movie to them that they've already watched? Let's see. No. Anywho's, yeah, rant over. I wasn't even planning on talking about Star Wars Theory today, but as soon as I saw that, I was about 5 minutes into the video and I was already triggered, you know. Theory was making theories because he loved the sequels. Yes, and that's if you. Alright. Right, Logan's Legacy. You're trolling that much that it's actually kind of funny. So if you're going to be sound, you're obviously welcome to hang out in the chat, you know. But aye, this is we're preserving the original lore canon continuity. We're no interested in Disney stuff. If you want the Disney stuff, like I say, go watch Star Wars Theory. Aye, Timothy Zahn is a traitor. And if you saw my my recent history of video about The Last Command, I kind of touched on that a little bit more, but I tried to conclude the video on a bit of a more positive note. You know, his contributions to the expanded universe were great, and it's definitely a good place to start from, I'd say. If he's a traitor, then I guess you need to throw out his books. Well, no, because he wrote these under George Lucas. Lil Porg, whose side are you on? Might have to take back your moderator rights. I can hear her laughing in the next room. I think you're the real troll in the chat. And we've got Darth Pause here. He's our honorary troll. Right, my uncle said he hates Filoni, but he's too afraid of getting fired. I'm sure he's lying. Dave is the savior of the Star Trek. Right. I'm unsure whether Logan's sound or no. That's pretty good. Darth Pause is the poster boy troll, like Theory is the poster boy of the fandom. Oh no, did you not see his new video? He's no the poster boy anymore. Zizor. My Nulif fell off. Zan is overrated. Veach is the real goat. Yeah, Veach did Tales of the Jedi. I'm pretty sure he was involved with... Actually, I'm certain he was involved with Dark Empire as well. Which George actually told them that they could... That's funny. George actually told them that they couldn't have Darth Vader come back, or they wanted to put someone in Vader's suit. And George said, no, but you can bring the Emperor back. And so they did. And then Timothy Zahn obviously wasn't a fan of that. And I've said it before, like a lot of people don't know the Dark Empire was it was written as the conclusion to the original Marvel comic run. Darth Pause says, I hate the love for the Thrawn trilogy. Some people only read 3 books, then talk about that trilogy like it's the best. Oh yeah, I mean, it's great, like it's amazing. But I know even when I was reading it, it is dated, like the writing style. It's that kind of early 90s science fiction style, but it does have like that Star Wars. It does feel like Star Wars when you're reading it. It's really good, and obviously there's a couple contradictions in there, but it started off the expanded universe. You know, technically that's when they started keeping track of continuity and maintaining it. Vex says Dark Empire is a masterpiece, guys. Yeah, I'm still planning to read it. It's not like high on my list to read, but it's obviously one of those cornerstone parts of the EU. Oh, you like the Jedi Academy trilogy more? Nice one. Like Timothy Zahn dissed. Yeah, he did diss the NGO, but that's because he thought that Soul Assassin says fans like Thrawn, but real OGs like the Bane trilogy. I'm a fake fan, Soul Assassin. I've not read it yet. It is on the list. It's pretty high on the list, to be honest. What was I talking about? Zan dissed the NGO because he didn't think that you should be killing off main characters. But you said it was rightfully so. Well, hey, little porg, what you hiding Vex for? Vex is awesome. What was I saying? George was involved in the development of the. It was an accident. Well, you can bring him back. Vex is awesome. George was involved in the development of that series. A lot of the stuff people complain about, like the Yuuzhan Vong, not being able to be seen in the Force. Well, that comes from the Isla Miri, which is from the Thrawn trilogy, which you all love. So it's whatever. Right. The real Darth Bane is the TCW one. The one that they made but never revealed. And then Filoni claims that it was George's idea to include Bane and Revan, which is pretty cool that he knew who they were, because of course he did. And then they animated them and whatever, and then George decided to take them out. Give yourself to the Disney side. Sorry, Logan, I can't do it. The Fire Nation Avatar knockoff Bane, or the deleted Orbalisk armor one. Yeah, I'm not sure which version was actually in the show, but they would have, like, like anything they utilized in that show, it would have been terrible. Right, folks, this is awkward, but I'm bursting for the toilet, and I don't have any like cool videos or anything to show you, so I'm gonna be as quick as possible. And if you have to shoot off, that's fine, but I'm bursting. The Orbalisk. Oh, shut up, pause. I'm a fake fan. Right, it'll be 2 seconds. And we're back. Unprofessional, I know. I'll need to obviously upgrade my streaming equipment at some point. Right, what you're all here for, I presume, the Shatterpoint. What's Paul saying there? Scran knows. Scran, oh, how's your KOTOR playthrough going? Theory only lasted 7 streams. Clicking a mouse got too hard for him. Well, pause. I'm about to disappoint you because my intention over the holidays was to play KOTOR, and my wife promised me that it was on her. She had it downloaded. Turns out it was the Old Republic, and I'm like, I'm not going to play that first, so I'm going to need to wait till payday so I can download it. You will be sorry. um, but we use Nintendo Switch, and I've seen that they've released like a collection of a bunch of the old Star Wars games. Play KOTOR, you fake fan. Well, pause. Like I say, I'm really interested in the Old Republic novels, and I'm going to take your word for it and play the game first. But yeah, this collection of games has the Dark Forces 1 and 2. I think it has the first one. It's got Jedi Knight 2, KOTOR, SWOTOR. I don't think the Old Republic's on there. It's got Racer, you know, the pod racing one. That Pause probably hasn't even played that one. You're a fake fan, Pause. You've not played Pod Racer. And Pause told me that he never played the Phantom Menace game either, which I grew up on. Oh, Matthew, good to see you, man. I never noticed you in the chat. I need copies of KOTOR 2 and KOTOR and Battlefront 2 for Xbox. Magically disappeared when we were moved. Yeah. Pause. I'm gonna read the Bane trilogy. Get off my case, man. You know, you haven't played Republic Commando? Nah, because Dave Filoni won't shut up about that game, so I'm not interested in it. Right, is there a bunch of trolls and chatterboxes? Chapter 3 only has 8 pages, front and back obviously, so it'll be a little bit shorter than the last few streams. But yeah, it'll be good. Last time, what was it that happened? Mace, he was being interrogated, and then they wanted to use him to. Scran is reading Shatterpoint. Well, what's the Disney one that they did? They did a Mace Windu book called. Was it like Glass or something like that? Which is yeah, that's right, Vex. They did a Mace Windu book called Glass, and it's clearly like a play on like Shatter, you know, like Shattered Glass or whatever. So yeah, maybe we'll read that instead. Who knows? We'll go Star Wars theory and go full on Disney content, because he is the biggest Disney Star Wars channel on the platform. Is it actually called Mr. Glass? That's so stupid. Right, Logan's Legacy. I'm gonna forgive you, because I think you're actually just being funny and it's amusing. Right, okay. Let us. Well, how long I've only been going 28 minutes. That's a record. I usually talk trash for like a good 50 minutes before we get started. Can I just ask, was this time like better for everyone? Like doing it an hour later than I usually do? Just curious. Pause. Scran loves to punch down. That's why I bully little kids like you. I learned that from watching EBN. You like this time more? 7 out of 10 time. Shatterpoint is okay, but not enough subversions. Aye, you should have got Ryan Johnson to write it, eh? Alright, Vex. I'm a fake. I don't know the Disney lore, so how would I know? Right. I can see people are kind of coming and going, so like if people are coming in strictly for the novel, like that's why we're here. So I'd like to get it moving. Right. Well, obviously we'll take some breaks here and there and see what you are saying to it. All right. And if you've got your own copy of the novel, you can follow along because obviously the accent's probably no great for everybody. Here we go. Chapter 3, Jungle to Jungle. Wait, no, I didn't even fill you in on what happened. Mace was getting interrogated, and then he was tracking a guy through the. They wanted to utilize him to find Depa Beliba. Pardon me, and then he was following a guy through the streets, and he actually got put into a dead end, and these guys attacked him, and one of them actually had his ex-apprentice's lightsaber, and so what was it he said? Mace said, "What I want is for you to tell me what you were doing with this blade." So there we go. The last show. Oh, sorry, Vex. To be fair, not too much happened in the last chapter. It wasn't as good as chapter 1. But it's good stuff. So I guess I kind of just elaborated on it. So we'll keep going. Mace stood on the roof, staring into the emerald gleam of Depa's blade. Either she'd given it to Smiley, or he'd taken it off her corpse. Mace hoped it was the former. At least he thought he did. The Depa he knew, would she lend out her lightsaber? Would she give away part of herself? Something told him it hadn't exactly been a concordance of fealty. After a few seconds, he released the Activision plate. Her blade shrank and vanished, leaving behind only a tang of eons in the air. He slipped the hand grip into the inner pocket of his vest. It didn't go in easily. The grip was tacky with a thin layer of goo that had a herbaceous scent. It had an herbaceous scent. Some kind of plant resin. Sticky, but it didn't come off on his hand. He shook his head, scowling at his palm. Then he sighed. And shrugged. Perhaps it was time he stopped expecting things on this planet to make sense. He leaned out over the roof rim. 4 bodies below in the alley, plus the pilot lying amid the wreckage of his speeder bike in the alley. Include the one who'd crashed into the building, and that was all of them. Smiley and the Karunai were swiftly and efficiently looting the dead. Mace's jaw tightened. One of the dead, the talker maybe, had a deep blood-lipped gash from ear to ear. Someone had cut his throat. A sick weight gathered in Mace's chest. Some things did make sense after all, and the sense this made turned his stomach. The Force gave him no sign of guilt from any of them. Perhaps the violence here was so recent that its echoes washed away any such subtleties. Or perhaps whichever of them had done this felt no guilt at all. And these killers were his best hope, perhaps his only hope of reaching Depa. But he could not simply let this pass. Another lesson of Yoda's came to mind. When all choices seem wrong, choose restraint. Mace slid down the rope. Smiley nodded him over. You're a mess, you know that? Take that shirt off. He reached down to pull a med pack off a dead man's belt. There'll be spray bandage in there. Mace took Smiley's upper arm with one hand. You and I, he said, need to re-establish our friendship. Hey, huh? Smiley tried to jerk free, and discovered that Mace's grip would not suffer the comparison with a freighter's docking claw. Trying just hurt his arm. Hey! We got off on the wrong foot, Mace said. We're going to make an adjustment. Do you think we can manage this peacefully? The other Karunai looked up from their looting. They stood, faces darkening as they turned toward Mace and Smiley, shifting grips on their weapons. Fingers slipped through trigger guards. Bad idea, Mace said, for everyone concerned. Hey, easy on the arm, huh? I might need it again someday. Mace's hand tightened. Tell them what we're doing. You want to lay off the bone-crushing grip? Smiley's voice was going thin. Beads of sweat swelled across his upper lip. What, you like my arm so much you want to take it home with you? This isn't my bone-crushing grip. This is my don't do something stupid grip. Mace tightened it enough to draw a squeak of pain through Smiley's lips. We'll graduate to bone crushing in about 10 seconds. When you put it that way, tell them what we're doing. Smiley twisted his neck to look over his shoulder at the other Karunai. Hey, you kids stand down, huh? He said weakly. We're just, re-establishing our friendship. Peacefully. Yeah, peacefully. The other three Karunai let their weapons dangle from their shoulder slings and went back to looting the bodies. Mace released him. Smiley massaged his arm, looking aggrieved. What exactly is your malfunction anyway? You didn't lead me into a trap. You used me to lead them into a trap. Hey, Captain Obvious, newsflash, this wasn't a trap. Mace frowned. Then what would you call it? It was an ambush, Smiley smirked. What, they don't teach basic in Jedi school? Do you know, Mace said, Mace said that I disliked you the instant we met. Is that Jedi speak for thank you so much for saving my lightsaber waving butt? He shook his head, mock sad. So what is it? What's your fuss? I can hear a little porg laughing next door. It's putting me off. The Pelik Baw, Mace reflected. That was a fair question. Turn them over to the authorities. What authorities? Gepton? The cops who ran the strong arm at the probi showers. He took a deep breath. For questioning. Everything needing to know. You? This came from the big red-haired girl with the thunderbolt. She looked up at Mace, still crouched beside a corpse. Her accent dripped high upland. Are looking at it, you. 6 Balloway scum. Over and done. Never another Corinne's home burn. Never another herd slaughter. Never another child murder. Never another woman. She didn't finish, but Mace would read the final word in the smoke of hate that clouded her eyes. He could feel it in the anger and violation that pulsed from her in the Force. He could more than guess what she had been through. He could more than guess what she had been through in the Force. He could feel how it had made her feel, sick and loathing, so wounded inside her heart that she could not allow herself to feel at all. His face softened for an instant, but he hardened it again. He knew instinctively that she wanted no pity. She was no one's victim. If she saw how sorry he felt for her, she'd hate him for it. So instead, he lowered his voice, speaking gently and respectfully. I see. My question, though, how are you certain that these men have done such things? Balawi, them. She said it as if she were spitting out a hunk of rotten meat. These were the people Depa had sent for him. These were the people Depa had sent for him. The sick weight in his chest gathered mass. He stepped away from Smiley and opened his fingers toward his lightsaber, where it lay beside the talker's throat-cut corpse. The discharge grip leapt from the ground to his hand. Listen to me, all of you. The simple authority in his voice drew their eyes and held them. He said, "You will do no murder while I am in your company. Do you understand this? If you try, I will stop you. Failing that..." Muscle bunched along his jaw, and his knuckles whitened on his lightsaber hand grip. Smouldering threat burned the calm from his dark eyes. "Failing that," he said through his teeth, "I will avenge your victims." Smiley shook his head. Hello, maybe you haven't noticed, but we're at war here. You get it?" A thin whistling in the distance swelled to become a shriek. Other whistles joining in, rising in pitch and volume both. Sirens, militia units on their way. Smiley turned to his companions. "That's the bell, kids. Saddle up." The Karunai worked faster, stripping the corpses of med packs, food squares, blaster gas cartridges, credits, boots. "You call it war," Mace said, "but these were not soldiers." "Maybe not. Sure got some nifty gear though, don't they?" Smiley picked up one of the over-unders and sighted appreciatively along its barrel. "Very nice. How else are we gonna get stuff like this? It's not like your bloody Republic sends us any." "Is it worth their lives?" "Gee, little judgmental, aren't we? Didn't we just slip your jiffies off the roaster?" "A thanks wouldn't exactly be out of line." "It was you," Mace replied grimly, "who put my jiffies on the roaster. And you took your time about slipping them off." Though the mockery stayed in his tone, Smiley's eyes went remote. "I don't know you, Windu, but I know who you're supposed to be. She talks about you all the time. I know what you're supposed to be able to do. If they could have taken you, yes." His head flicked a centimetre to the right, a Karun shrug. "I would have let them. You coming or what?" Are you still talking about Mr. Glass in the chat? What did I miss? What did I miss? Too late. Mr. Glass is my favourite character. I can't wait till he turns up. Oh, there's a Star Wars Marvel purist. Good to see you, man. We wouldn't all be George Lucas purists if you weren't here. Right, here we go. Okay. Peleg Baw rolled past the ground car's tinted windows. The vehicle bumps along on large toroidal balloons made of a native tree resin and used laminated wooden bow slats as springs. The driver was local, a middle-aged Karun with a web of cataract across one eye and bad teeth stained red from chewing raw thistle bark. Mason, the Karunai, sat behind him in the passenger cabin. Mace kept his head down, pretending to be engrossed in cobbling together an improvised adapter to recharge his lightsaber from looted blaster packs. It didn't require all that much of his attention. His lightsaber was designed to be easily rechargeable. Oh. In an emergency, he could even use the Force to flip a concealed lock on the inside of his... Wait, let's read that again. In an emergency, he could even use the Force to flip a concealed lock on the inside of its hermetically sealed shell, opening a hatch that would allow him to manually switch out the power cell. Alright, that's pretty neat. Instead, he laboriously wired up leads from the blaster packs and pretended to study their charge monitors. Mostly, it was an excuse to keep his head down. The first thing the Karunai did once they were on their way was swiftly and efficiently field strip the captured weapons, despite the cramped compartment and the jouncing ride. Mace guessed they must have had plenty of practice. All exposed parts. They rubbed the chunks of the translucent orange-brown resin that Smiley said was Portac amber, a natural fungicide that the ULF used to protect their weapons. This was the same resin that coated the hand grip of Deppa's lightsaber. Alright, okay. Smiley passed Mace a chunk. Better rub up yours too, and you might consider getting yourself a knife. Maybe a slug pistol. Even with the amber, powered weapons are unreliable here. He told Mace to keep the chunk, and shrugged off his thanks. Smiley's name was Nick Rostu. He'd introduced himself in the ground car while he was spray bandaging Mace's cuts and treating his bruises by a liberal use of the stolen, captured med pack. Mace recalled a Gosh Rostu that had been loosely affiliated with Gosh Windu. That Nick had taken the Rostu name meant he must be Nedosh, a clan child, an orphan, like Mace, but not much like Mace. Unlike his companions, Nick spoke basic without an accent, and he knew his way around the city, probably why he seemed to be in charge. Mace gathered from their conversation that Nick had spent much of his childhood here in Pelik Ba. After what he'd seen of the Karun children in this city, he refused to let himself imagine what Nick's childhood must have been like. The big, emotionally ravished girl they called Chalk. The other two looked enough alike to be brothers. The older, whose teeth showed scarlet thistle stains, was called Lesh. The younger brother, Besh, never spoke. Their mum got creative with their names, huh? Lesh and Besh. So Besh never spoke. The knurl of Scar joined the corner of his mouth to his right ear, and his left hand was missing its last 3 fingers. In the ground car, they spoke to each other in Karun. Eyes on his lightsaber hand grip, Mace gave no sign that he understood most of what they said. His Karun was rusty, learned 35 standard years before, but serviceable enough, and the Force offered understanding where his memory might fail. Their chatter was mostly what he would expect from young people after a firefight. A mix of "did you see when I..." and "whoa, I really thought I was gonna..." while they sorted through the adrenaline-charged chaos of imagery that was inevitably the memory of battle. It's a clone of Mr... Mace is a clone of Mr. Glass. I blame Vex for this because obviously he's into the Disney lore and he knows more about it. Is that going? Logan's Legacy says that's going to be the new Star Wars theory video. It would be funny if that wasn't like accurate. Mace Windu is a clone of Mr. Glass. Lore video number 3. Theory's new video is at 115k views. That's 115 views taken away from a lore video. Aye, exactly. Oh, it's so stupid, man. If he did a video on Mr. Glass, he'd get all the views. Where did I even get to? Right, here we go. Right. Chalk glanced at Mace from time to time. What's with Jedi Rockface? She asked the others generally. I don't like him. He looks the same when he's cleaning his weapons as he did while he was using them. Makes me nervous. Nick shrugged at her. Would you be happier if he was like Deppa? Count your blessings and mind your mouth. She said he spent some time up country a few years ago. He might still speak some Karun. Chalk's only response was a bleak, silent scowl that twisted in Mace's stomach like a knife, like Deppa. He burned to ask what Nick had meant by that, but he wouldn't. He couldn't. He couldn't ask them about Deppa. Dude, I've been calling her Deppa this whole time. I'm pretty sure it's Deepa. It's Deepa Belieba, isn't it? Absolute fake fan. He was half sick with dread already, which was no state in which to meet his former Padawan and examine her mental and moral health. He would, although according to Star Wars theory, you can pronounce it however you want. So like, Shizor is Zizor, so Deepa is Deppa. I don't know. Checks out. Vex says my Disney lore knowledge is too immense. Somehow, Mr. Glass returned. Where'd I get to? His former Padawan and examine her mental and moral health. He would need as clear and open a mind as all his Jedi training and discipline could produce. He couldn't risk contaminating his perceptions with expectations or hopes or fears. They bounced and swayed through a part of town Mace didn't recognise, a tangle of shabby stone housing blocks that rose from a scree of wood frame shanties. Though the streets were far less crowded here, the only foot traffic seemed to be surely ragged-looking men and furtive women peering from doorways or clustered in nervous groups. The ground car still spent valuable minutes stopped at this corner and that bend and another angle, waiting in the blare of the steam horn for the way to clear. They'd have made better time in an airspeeder, but Mace didn't suggest it. Flying in this world struck him a chancy undertaking. Though he couldn't say for certain that it would be any more chancy than spending more time with these young Karunai. They worried him. They had enough force touch to be unpredictable, and enough savagery to be dangerously powerful. And then there was Nick, who was at best marginally sane. Back in the alley, standing among the corpses with the militia on the way, Mace had asked where their transport was and why they weren't hurrying to meet it. He didn't want to get caught in another firefight. Relax, neither do they. Nick had smirked at him. What do you think those sirens are about? They're letting us know they're coming. They don't try to catch you. If they did, they'd have to fight us. He stroked his long-barreled slug thrower as though it were a pet. Think you're going to do that? I would. Yeah, okay, but they're not Jedi, I've noticed. Several of the weapons the Karunai had left on the ground. Besh had picked up Macy's Power 5, frowned at it, then shrugged and tossed it back among the bodies. Mace had moved to retrieve it, and Nick had told him not to bother. It's mine. It's junk, Nick countered. He picked it up. Here, look. He pointed at it at Mace's forehead and pulled the trigger. Mace managed not to flinch. Barely. A wisp of greenish smoke had trailed downward from the grip. Nick had shrugged and tossed the blaster back to the ground. Fungus got it, just like that second speeder bike. Some of those circuits are only nanometers thick. A few spores can eat right through them. That, Mace had told him, was not funny. Not as funny as if I'd been wrong, huh? Nick chuckled. What's the matter, Windu? Deepa says you got a great sense of humour. Through clenched teeth, Mace said she must have been joking. In the car, he looked from one to another of the Karunai. He could trust none of them, though he felt no malice from them. He'd felt none from Geptun either. But he did feel knotted around them a strangling web of anger and fear and pain. Karunai were Force users, but they'd never had Jedi training. These radiated darkness as though they came from some reversed universe, where light is only a shadow cast by the darkness of the stars. Their anger and pain beat against him in waves that triggered resonance, harmonics, in his own heart. Without knowing it, they called to emotions that Mace's lifetime of Jedi training was supposed to have buried, and those buried emotions were already stirring to answer. He recognized that he was in danger here, in ways deeper than the merely physical. Now, sitting in the ground car, waiting for his lightsaber to recharge, Mace decided that he should get some things straight with these 4 young Karunai, and there'd never be a better time. I think we'll all speak basic now, Mace said. Any being will soon enough tire of listening to conversation in a foreign tongue, which was not even a lie. Chalk gave him a dark look. Here, basic is foreign tongue. Fair enough, Mace allowed. Nonetheless, when I am in your company, that is what we will speak. She, pretty free with the orders, aren't we? No murder, no looting. Speak basic, Nick said. Who said you're in charge? And if we don't feel like doing what we're told, what is it going to be, mister? There is no emotion. Harsh language? I am in charge, Mace said quietly. This was greeted with a round of half-pitying sneers and snorts, shaking heads. Mace looked at Nick. Do you doubt my ability to maintain a grip on the situation? Oh, very funny, Nick said, massaging his arm. I won't bore you with the complexities of chain of command, Mace said. I'll stick to facts. Simple facts, straightforward, easy to understand. Like this one. Master Beliba sent you here to bring me to her. Says who? If she wanted me dead, you'd have left me in that alley. She wouldn't have sent you to divert or ditch me. She knows you're not good enough for that. Says you. You're under orders to deliver me. Deepa doesn't exactly give orders, Nick said. It's more like she just lets you know what she thinks you should do, and then you do it. Mace shrugged. Do you intend to disappoint her? The uncertain looks they now exchanged drove that sick knife deeper into Mace's gut. They feared her, or something to do with her, in a way that they did not fear him. Nick said, So? So you need my cooperation. Mace checked the meter on the blaster pack. This one was depleted. He pulled the adapter out of his lightsaber charge port. Nick sat forward, a dangerous glint sparking in his blue eyes. Who says we need your cooperation? Who says we can't just pack you up and send you Jedi free delivery? Instead of hooking in the next blaster pack, Mace balanced the lightsaber hand grip on his palm. I do. Another glance made the rounds, and Mace felt swift currents ripple the Force back and forth among them. The Force blanched. Chalk's knuckles whitened on the thunderbolt. Nick's face went perfectly blank. Their hands shifted on their rifles. Mace hefted the lightsaber. Reconsider. He watched each of them mentally calculate the odds of bringing a weapon to bear in the cramped cabin before he could trigger his blade. Your chances come in two shapes, he said, slim and fat. Okay, Nick carefully lifted empty hands. Okay, everybody, stand down. Relax, huh? She, how twitchy are we, huh? Listen, you need us too, Windu. Master Windu. Nick blinked. You're kidding, right? I worked very hard to gain that title, and I've worked even harder to deserve it. I prefer that you use it. Yeah, I was saying you need us too. I mean, you're not from around here. I was born on the north slope of Grandfather's shoulder. Yeah, okay, sure, I know. You're from here, but you're still not from here. You're from the galaxy. Nick's hands clutched as though he were trying to pull words from the air. Deepa says you know what Deepa says. Master Beliba. Yeah, okay, sure, whatever. Master Beliba tries to explain it like this. It's like, you live in the galaxy, you know? The other galaxy. The other galaxy, Mace frowned. Go on. She says that you, all of you, the Jedi, the government, everybody, you're, like, from the galaxy of peace. You're from the galaxy where rules are rules, and almost everyone plays along. Harun Kal, though, we're a whole different place, you know? It's like the laws of physics are different. Not opposite, not up is down or black is white. Nothing that simple. Just different. So when you come here, you expect things to work a certain way, but they don't. Because things are different here. You understand? I understand, Mace said heavily, that you're not my only option for local guides. Republic Intelligence set up a team to take me up country. The looks exchanged among the crew and I stopped Mace in mid-sentence. You know something about the upcountry team? It wasn't a question. Upcountry team, Nick echoed derisively. See, this is what I'm talking about. You just don't get it. Don't get what? Some of that manic glitter snuck back into the bright blue eyes. Do you think we left dead... Who do you think we left dead in that alley just now? Mace stared. Oh well, that was a twist. 2 seconds, folks. Taking my shirt off. What are you thinking so far? Starting to pick up, I think. Stover's obviously still proving that he's great with dialogue, I think. Playing KOTOR 2 while listening. Oh, Decrepit! Nice one, man. I'm looking forward to the stream on Thursday. Because of the time difference, I will be able to be on there, so. Logan says not as good as Mr. Glass. Cheers, Vex. Aye, nice one, Decrepit. Do you have any more videos planned before then, or are you wanting to get your first live stream out the way first? Darth Paws is reading Mr. Glass while he's reading Mr. Glass while listening. You should get the unabridged audiobook version, or even the abridged version. I don't even think Mr. Glass is in that version of the audiobook. I bet Pause, I bet your Mr. Glass book's sitting on your shelf gathering dust. You just got it for a photo op, didn't you? So Disney would send you some free stickers and stuff like that. Decrepit says, I've been ill last few days. Oh, that sucks, man. Hope Got them written, just have to record. Will be dropping vids after stream. Nice one, man. Yeah, I was the same with my recent last command video. It's one that had like scripted for a while and I had all my sources, but it's just finding time to edit the videos, isn't it? Oh, Narrow Dark, good to see you, man. Narrow Dark says videos are gonna pop off. Logan's Legacy, I'm preparing a 5-hour Mr. Glass lore video. I believe you, because you're into that Disney lore, aren't you, man? Almost kicked you off the stream just for that kind of nonsense. Stream will be around this time of day, so we will have all the mates on. Oh, nice one, man. I'll definitely be able to take part in that. That's cool. Looking forward to it, honestly. And yeah, the first 50, I know for me the first 50 was tricky to get to, and then the next milestone was 100 subs, and then it kind of 100 to 200 like was gradual. It wasn't too bad, and then I did my celebration video for the 200 subs, and then it's only taken about 2 weeks and I'm almost at 300. It's crazy. But yeah, just Decrepit, just keep making the content that you've been doing, because it's awesome, and it's the kind of stuff that people like. Kicks Gran off the stream when he starts talking about Mr. Glass. Cheers Decrepit, and you'll get there too, honestly. It's I think people are honestly starting to realise that the smaller channels are they're talking about the real lore and stuff like that, and no one's interested in Disney stuff. Nobody wants to hear about that. It's obviously fun to make fun of it once in a while, and I know some of your videos point that stuff out, which is cool. I think Vex has made the first like meme of my channel, Mr. Glass. Oh well. Right, where'd I get to? Right, I turned the page. We're good. Pause says, I thought lore videos are dead. Theory was wrong, as always. Aye, and for anyone that wasn't here for the start of the stream, we touched on that, didn't we? He's saying that lore videos, nobody's interested in the original lore anymore, because he's not getting views on his lore videos. And it's because he came out and he told everyone. He told everyone he was getting ghostwriters to write his lore videos. He told us that George didn't care about EU and that he doesn't want to read it all, and he hasn't read much of it. Decrepit says Theory literally made a video saying lore gets... Yeah, exactly. That's what we're talking about. William says it's not just the smaller channels, it's the younger people, they carry the legacy. Yeah, I guess that's a compliment. Like I'm 30 next year. Like I grew up, like I grew up watching the originals, but like the Phantom Menace was coming out at that same time. So like I'll always say I've got really vivid memories of being like 4 years old, simply because of like here we can take a wee break. Stuff like what? The ATST just fell over. Stuff like that. You know, like the branding for the Phantom Menace, so that like kind of red, like everything had that. And even when you went to like shops or stores, as some of you call it, like that was everywhere. I'd go on vacation down to England with my family, and Star Wars stuff everywhere. I don't think I showed any as this yet. I did that video about the stuff my brother let me have. He gave me one of the OG Stormtrooper figures. You can see it's all decolored. It's like yellow. It's pretty cool. But he lives in the Decrepit likes the Kenner figs. But he lives in the ATST. But yeah, theories. Here, I'll read what Matthew said first. I hate Disney. I hate Disney. They've ruined Star Wars and Marvel and Willow and Indiana Jones. I hate Legends being labeled on everything pre-Disney. Yeah, sucks, man. I Decrepit. I have the Vader case. Only 5 figs so far. Oh, you're talking about like the OG case. That's you've got 5 of the figs. That's cool. Well, Decrepit. It's common knowledge now. Me and my wife are moving to America, so what I'll do is I'll make sure I pack them, right? I'll make sure I pack them, and once I'm over there, I'll send it to you. Like, have you got a stormtrooper? Let me know if Decrepit. Let me know if you've got a stormtrooper, because if you don't, I'll bring it with me and I'll mail it to you, and you can have them, right? Because most of my stuff, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Oh, you have that one? No worries. I'll find something else cool to give you then. Got to buy your friendships. I'll still be here in Scotland for at least a year, so visa crap you got to deal with. Aye. Anyway, little Porg's laughing. That's not like tooting my own horn, but you can tell when Gohan buys his friendships. Well, the thing with Gohan is like he's tagging people who aren't his friends, but he's acting like they're his friends because he watches their videos, and it's all the actual grifters that don't know anything about the properties that they're talking about. But what was I going to say? Like, not to toot my own horn, but that's how you can tell when someone's a fan of something. Like, pardon me, I'll pick up a toy and I'll talk about it for ages and get off topic, Star Wars Marvel Purist says, maybe if you take some reading courses from Star Wars Normie, you can up your game and read it at his level. I will. Gohan on beast mode. Let's not get into that. Like I'll admit, like I'm not the best reader. Before I got into EU, I wasn't a big reader. I read like Catcher in the Rye and all that, and a couple of books, but like I found it difficult. Like I'm pretty sure I've got undiagnosed like dyslexia. And then when I was reading Labyrinth of Evil, I was having a really hard time because not only was I not retaining information, I was getting like, oh, little Porg, you don't want to know who Gohan is. Well, we'll talk about him in a minute. I was getting like halfway down a page, not retaining information because I'm an idiot. So I was having to read it like 3 or 4 times, and then words were also like going blurry. They were getting jumbled around. So I got spectacles because I got into the EU. Now I can see. So, aye. The EU helped me to see. Not just to read, but to see. Decrepit says, you in the USA will be sick. Shame you're leaving lovely Scotland. But it'll be lucrative to your cause to have you close by. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like, I got married to my wife. She's obviously American. We've spent next year will be our 5th year, like marriage anniversary. So, we've been here a while. Like I've been here almost 30 years. I'm ready to move on and see some new stuff. So, it'll be cool, and it'll be cool to be in the same kind of time zone as people who are Aye, exactly, pause. I can catch Theory's streams live. um, but no, like it'll be cool to see know which state you're going to. Yeah, I guess it's not like doxing myself. I'll be going to Ohio, so I love it in Ohio. I've visited a handful of times, so I'm. Oh, Narrow Dark says I'm moving to the States next year and taking all my stuff. It's going to be a pain. Can't imagine moving to another country with it all. Oh, Narrow Dark's going to the States too. It looks like all the EU channels are coming on over. But no, obviously it'll be cool to be kind of in a time zone where I can maybe catch more live streams from channels that I actually like. So, oh, Narrow Dark, you're going to a different state. Are you Narrow Dark? Are you in Australia or are you in America? Does Australia? Oh, I'm an idiot. Does Australia have states? Am I being stupid? Yeah, I figured because he's got. Yeah, Narrow Dark's got that cool accent. Like I cannot tell what age Narrow Dark is based on his accent. Pause. You're just a wee Wayne, as we say here in Scotland. You're a wee Wayne, which means your opinion doesn't matter. So, sorry, Narrow Dark. well, well, I don't know. I mean, that's kind of the cool thing. Bairn. Narrow Dark's 26. Cool. So yeah, we're roughly the same age. I mean, I'm 29, so you're a wee Wayne, like a wee bairn, just like pause in my eyes. Nah, Keeley, Captain Keeley's my Aussie, decrepit. Get your own. Aye, let's not get into that pause. But no, like when I started the channel, I didn't think like of it. Like first of all, I didn't think anyone would watch any of the videos, and then I didn't realize like I'd kind of get involved with like the kind of smaller community channels, which has been awesome. Like interacting with certain channels has been a lot of fun. Like I'm sitting here reading Mr. Glass, and like I can hear my wife in the next room laughing her butt off. So it's awesome to have you in here talking with me. Scran bought his first 10 subs. Wow. J.I. Jacob showed me how to do it. So. Oh, and Lil Porg, Gohan is this dude that wait, I'll read this first. According to Star Wars, normally all the small channels attack each other, and Star Wars channels never collaborate. Aye, sure. More book. Aye, we can get back to the book. It's whatever. But no, Gohan Creates is this dude who I followed him for a while because he was just a normal dude, it seemed, and then he started this no, me and Jacob were not pals, Lil Porg, that's not true. He right, J.I. Jacob messaged me on X, and he was like, oh, she's still laughing at me, right? Oh, sorry, Decrepit. I'll get back to it in a minute. Right, Gohan Creates is whatever. He's a weirdo. Like he comes out and like calls out channels saying that they're jealous and they're whatever. But he actually started a group chat on X and added me to it with a bunch of other people, and he's like, "Oh, I'm writing this fan fiction. Like, what do you think? What do you think? It's a Star Wars fan fiction. Do you have any ideas for me in that?" And like I was the only person that responded to him, and I'm like, it's kind of cool, but like, wouldn't you be better making something that's not Star Wars related? And then like other people just kept leaving the chat and stuff, and it was like I felt bad for him. But then he started coming out and like calling these people out and stuff. So it's whatever. And then the Jacob thing, he messaged me because I called him out on Twitter for a daft take that he had, and he was like, "I think we've got off on the wrong foot. We should like kind of reconcile this and stuff." And I was basically like, "Right, dude, I've got nothing against you personally, but a bunch of the stuff you say on this platform is insane. Like, a Star Wars fan would not be saying this stuff." And he's like, "Oh, I get it, but like, I genuinely love the sequel stuff." And I'm like, "Right, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, but like, when you're talking about the original movies and you're talking about expanded universe, like, get yourself clued up, like, do a little bit of research before you say this stuff, because that's why people are like coming down on you and giving you a hard time, you know?" And he's like, "Yeah, I get it." And then he did a post and he was like, "Oh, I reached out to Star Wars Scran. He's actually a lovely guy. Like, I didn't expect that, blah, blah, blah." And then someone obviously told him, like, I'm a bad person or something because he deleted it. So I wish I'd screenshotted that. That would have been funny. But he's just like Theory. He acts like a victim, but then he'll go out of his way. Scran's just a chill guy. Yeah, I mean, I'm here slandering Star Wars Theory for views. So, but like Theory would like never reply to me either. Apart from that one time he replied about the Shizor thing, and then he blocked me from being able to comment on his channel. So, right, folks, Decrepit wants to get back into Mr. Glass. So, right. Right, okay. Nick showed him those gleaming teeth of his. Mace looked at Lesh. Lesh spread his hands. His thistle-stained smile was apologetic. "Does talk true, Nick. Things are different here." Bess shrugged, nodding. Mace looked at Chalk, at her eyes, incongruously dark in her fair-skinned face, at the way she cradled the massive Merson thunderbolt on her lap as though it were her child. Excuse me, I'm gurgling there. Too much alcohol, I think. As many things suddenly fell into place. "It was you," he said to her wonderingly. "You shot Flora Miller. Flora, I'm going to call her Flora." The blistering afternoon sun dissolved the departing ground car into heat shimmer and dust. Mace stood in the road and watched it go. This far from the capital, the road was little more than a pair of ruts filled with crushed rock snaking through the hills. Green foliage stripped its middle, the jungle reclaiming its own from the centre out. From this short patch, the road paralleled the silver twist of grandmother's tears, a river of snowmelt from grandfather's shoulder that joined with the great downrush a few clicks from Pelik Ba. They were all above the capital now, on the far side of the great mountain. Nick and the others were already hiking uphill through an ankle-high litter of bracken and scrub, weapons slung across their shoulders. The living wall of the jungle loomed 20 meters above. In the far distance, Mace could just make out a segmented line of grey blotches, probably tame grassers. The Balawi government used teams of the great beasts. Gohan, beast mode. The Balawi government used teams of the great beasts to clear the jungle back from the road. Master Windu. Nick had stopped on the hillside above. He beckoned for Mace to follow and pointed at the sky. "Air patrols. We need to make the tree line." But still Mace stood in the road. Still he watched dust rise and twist in the ground car's wake. Nick had said, You're from the galaxy of peace, and things are different here. A deep uneasiness coiled behind his ribs. Were he not a Jedi and immune to such things, he might call it superstitious dread, an unreasoning fear that he had left the galaxy behind in the ground car, that civilization itself was bouncing away down in the road to Pelik Ba, leaving him out here with the jungle. He could smell it. Perfume of heavy blooms, sap from broken branches, dust from the road, sulfur dioxide rolling down from active caldera upslope on grandfather's shoulder. Even the sunlight seems to carry a scent out here, hot iron and rot, and Mace himself. He could smell himself sweat. Sweat trickled the length of his arms. Sweat beaded on his scalp, and trailed down his neck, across his chest, along his spine. The tatters of his blood-stained shirt lay somewhere along the roadway. Clicks behind. The leather of his vest clung to his skin, already showing salt rings. He had begun to sweat before they'd even left the ground car. He had begun to sweat while Nick explained why Republic-supported partisans under the command of a Jedi Master had murdered the station boss of Republic intelligence. Right, we're almost there. Tank's been playing her own game for years now. That's Flora Tank. Nick had said, "Upcountry team, my bloody saddle sores. You, Mr. Windu, were you on your way to a Sepi intel camp in the Gavarno cluster?" It goes like this. 1. She turns you over to the team. 2. The team reports an accident in the jungle. Your body's never recovered, because you're getting what's left of your brains sucked out in the torture cell somewhere in Gavarno. 3. Tank retires to the resort world in the Confederacy of Independent Systems. Mace had been shaken. Too much of it made too much sense. But when he asked what evidence Nick had of this, the young Kurin had only shrugged. "This isn't a court of law, Mr. Windu. It's a war. So you murdered her." "You call it murder?" Nick shrugged again. "I call it slipping your jiffies. Off the roster, I remember. We've been waiting for you for days. Deepa, Master Beliba, described you to us and told us to watch for you at the spaceport. But we had a little militia trouble and missed you. We picked you up again. We didn't pick you up again until you were coming out of the washateria with Tank. And we almost lost you then too. Got a little hung up in the food riot. Then, before we could get to you, you managed to get your Jedi butt stunned into next year, fighting a pitched battle with the militia on an open street in Pelik Ba is not a high percentage survival tactic, if you know what I mean. You couldn't have just warned me?" "Sure we could, which would the cloaked us to Tank and her Balawi pals, gotten us killed for nothing, because you wouldn't have believed us anyway." "I'm not sure I believe you now." Mace had turned his lightsaber over in his palm, feeling the unpleasant way the Portak amber gripped his skin. "It's not lost on me that I only have your word on this. Everyone who might contradict your story is dead." "Yeah, that doesn't seem to trouble you." "I'm used to it." Mace frowned. "I don't understand." "That's what war is," Nick said. His voice had lost its mocking edge and sounded almost kind. "It's like the jungle. By the time the whatever it is that's moving through the trees out there is close enough that you can see for sure what it is, or who it is, you're already dead. So you make your best guess. Sometimes you're right, and you take out an enemy, or spare an ally. Sometimes you're wrong, then you die. Or you have to live with having killed a friend." He showed his teeth, but his smile had no warmth left in it. "And sometimes you're right, and you die anyway. Sometimes your friend isn't a friend. You never know. You can't know. I can. That's part of what being a Jedi is. Nick's smile had turned knowing. Okay, take your pick. We're murderers who must be brought to justice, or we're soldiers doing our duty. Either way, who else is going to take you to the Master Belieber? Mace growled. This is not lost on me either. So what are you going to do about it? He and the others watched Mace think it over, and in the end, the decision Mace reached surprised not and in the end, the decision Mace reached surprised none of them. It disappointed only himself. Nick had winked. Welcome to Haroon Kal. Right, folks, we have one more paragraph, and you're only going to hear it if you wait for me to go to the toilet real quick. Because I've been drinking beer, and I'm bursting again. Thank you so much for everyone that's been hanging about. I'm not going to take up too much more of your time, but just bear with me, right? Right, folks. You'd think a Scotsman wouldn't have the child of a bladder. The child of a bladder? The bladder of a child. What an idiot. Right. Okay. Right, one more paragraph. Here we go. Flippin' idiot, man. Right, okay. Now, the ground car's dust plume slipped into a fold of the hills and was gone. At the green wall above, Besh and Lesh had already vanished into the canopied shadow. Chalk and Nick waited for him just below the tree line, crouched in the scrub, watching the sky, outlined against the green. The wall of jungle was green only on the outside. Between the leaves and trunks, among the fronds and flowers and vines, was shadow so thick that from out here under the brilliant sun, it looked entirely black. Mace thought, it's not too late to change your mind. He could leave Nick here, could turn his back on Chalk and Besh and Lesh, hike along the road, catch a ride into Pellet Baw, hop a shuttle for the next liner on the Governal Loop. He knew somehow that this was his last chance to walk away, that once he crossed the green wall, the only way out would be through. He couldn't guess what he might find on the way, except possibly deeper. You should never have sent me here, and I should never have come. It was too late to change his mind after all. He was in the jungle already. He'd walked into it from the shuttle in the Pellet Baw spaceport. Maybe from the balcony on Geonosis, or maybe from the balcony on Geonosis, or maybe he'd been just standing still, and the jungle had grown around him before he'd noticed. Welcome to Haroon Kal. His boots crunched through the husks of bracken, and he toiled up the slope. Chalk nodded to him and vanished through the wall. Nick gave him a smile, as if he knew what Mace had been thinking. Better keep up, Master Windu. Another minute, we would have left you standing there. You want to be alone out here? I don't think so. He was right about that. If you should happen to get separated, is there a landmark I should make for? Don't worry about it, just keep up. But if we do, how will I find you? You won't. Nick shook his head, smiling into the jungle. If we get separated, you won't live long enough to worry about finding us. You get it? Keep up. He walked into the trees and was swallowed by the green twilight. Mace nodded to himself and followed Nick into the shadows without looking back. And that is the conclusion of chapter 3. So we are finally in the jungle. So I get the impression we're about to get into the thick of it, as they say. I guess it's kind of like Shatterpoint, chapter 3. So yeah, I'm getting those kind of visuals from that last description there. So, still loving it, still enjoying it thoroughly. What do all you have to say so far? Oh, I just saw something about Yavin-based broadcast is in the jungle. Oh. Matthew says that video with Zan saying EU was canon, saying it was never canon, and Aaron Alston in the first sense seemed incredulous about the idea of erasing. Oh yeah, they were always talking about like rebooting the EU. And you can't reboot something that isn't canonical. You know what I mean? Darth Paws, we get it. You love Disney continuity. You love it. Yeah, so cheers to everyone that's hung about for the chapter. That's awesome. Vex says, it sounds good so far. I need to go back and listen to the last chapter. Yeah, definitely, Vex. You can always skip past the parts where I'm talking nonsense and just listen to it. Decrepit says, Zan took Disney money to remake the Thrawn story. Sad. Yep. Timothy Zahn unfortunately sold out. And it's a shame because they obviously used his name for like credibility, and they used him in the video to like actually regulate EU to Legends as well, because they know that even normies kind of know who Timothy Zahn is. Oh, we lost Logan Legacy, did we? That's alright. He wasn't too bad. He made me chuckle, so. It was just the other day when he was replying under my videos, and all of a sudden, like, he changed his username and he was just trashing EU. I thought it was bizarre. After he'd been like following the channel and like being based pretty much, it was weird. So yeah, I had no intention of interacting with him anymore, but he was a good laugh, so he's just trolling. Narrow Dark says, how much do these hardcover EU books cost? Well, obviously, if you're getting them second hand, it's going to vary. I got. I know the Darth Plagueis one was relatively expensive. It was like 20 something pounds. I don't know how that converts to dollars. Maybe like $30 or something. The Shatterpoint usually goes for about. Every time I looked at Shatterpoint on like eBay, it was like 30 quid plus like 20 quid postage. Like, it was a lot of money for a novel that I knew that what people didn't generally like rave about, but I got it for a tenner, so that's why I grabbed it. But my aim is to get them all on hardback, and obviously there's a couple that you can't get on hardback, which is a shame. £20 is about $40. Oh really? Narrow Dark. That's quite the exchange rate. That's wild. I don't know, because I know like it's different in each country. Like I know here in the UK, like it's relatively easy to get EU books on eBay as of now. Matthew would get them for about 14 a piece. Oh, Logan's returned. Good to see you, man. Apologies for earlier, Logan. You're more than welcome to hang out in the chat. You're making the missus laugh, so that's always good. So I know Knights of Undercover wants to do a live stream. Oh, Decrepit. I will say I got lucky and got episode 3, 2, 1, Shadowhunter, and Trusabakura hardcovers all for $10 at a yard sale. Oh, that's minted. Yeah, I've never found an actual novel like at a secondhand store. It's always like random like source books and stuff. Not even good ones, just like random stuff. After obviously we're doing yeah, I've got the hardcover of episode 3, yeah. Pardon me, this is one I want to Decrepit needs the Labyrinth of Evil hardcover, yeah. Pardon me. This is one I want to do like a history of video, but I want to wait for a time where like maybe like Purist and stuff's all covering it at the same time. Like I think this would be a really good one for like a bunch of channels to jump on at the same time. There's the hardcover there, Decrepit. It's awesome. Like this was my first one, my first EU novel. I read half of it on the. Luckily, it's right there. I read half of it on the paperback, but it's like it's like a small paperback. And then it was actually my twin brother got this for me. He got me it on hardback, and then he also got me the Revenge of the Sith one and the Dark Lord Rise of Darth Vader one on hardback. So, and I love seeing them all together. Like they've all got that kind of orange, black, and yellow aesthetic. And even the Kenobi novel, which Darth Paws loves, I'm pretty sure Kenobi's Darth Paws' favourite EU novel. But all of them together is awesome. Oh, Logan lore. I need to go back and read about that. I am pretty sure Darth Paws gave Kenobi a 7 out of 10, which is high praise for him. So. Yeah, Decrepit, I agree. See you later, Vex. Long live Mr. Glass. That's ridiculous. Take care, man. Good to have you. Right, we're pretty much just talking crap at this point, so I think everyone should either change your tune or bounce. Take your pick. Personally, I'm going to bounce, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and thank you so much for coming and hanging out. And despite what Star Wars Theory says, being interested in original lore and continuity, like I keep wanting to leave, but you keep talking about cool stuff, so alright, time to bounce. Right, I've taken up enough of your time. Right, take care, guys.